Hey guys, Joe here, and as the rain comes down, I just wanted to welcome you to what I hope is the first of many videos where I attempt to modernize Massachusetts in the Fallout 4 universe. Let's go ahead and clear up the skies and change the time of day to morning so that I can give you a proper look at the first of many, many settlements. So that's better. It's morning time now, so we'll have the entire day of gameplay footage to go through and take a look at Sanctuary Hills. Before we get going, you will see some very drastic dips in my frame rate. In fact, when I'm looking this way, you're at 28 frames per second. When I look this way, it recaps it at 60. That's due to the fact that I have a ton of mods installed. Fallout 4 really isn't that well optimized for when the system is modded outside of Creation Club. Also, I'm running on a Xeon processor that's overclocked to 4.4 gigahertz, but that doesn't mean its IPCs are great. Finally, I also have my graphics all the way up so you can see clear into downtown from here. Now that the excuses are out of the way, let's get down to this settlement. I decided completely out of the blue after working on Vault 88 that I wanted to modernize my settlements, I almost said vaults, pardon me, and I decided to do that with Sanctuary by completely starting from scratch. I decided to treat it as if it was an entirely new settlement built just on the land. In fact, here, let's go up into the sky and I will show you what I mean. So Sanctuary is actually technically an island because of the damage to the land from the war, and you're about to see a major graphical glitch here because of how many textures are in this corner. Right there, you see there how it kind of drags the image. That's because of all the textures that are over there. But the entire setup of Sanctuary is that it is actually an island. So I took every square inch that was available and turned it into an indoor settlement. First thing you'll notice is that the bridge is fixed. It's a very simple mod, a lot of people get it. It's available in the main menu, it's just called Sanctuary Bridge Fixed. Then I started experimenting with different mods and finding ones I liked. I went with a darker concrete mod because I thought it looked better, especially contrasting with lighter colors and wood colors. I also extended all of the docks and walkable areas out to their farthest limit. So this is all in the water. As you can see, I have it set so it actually is placed in the water. This is one of the guard towers that's clipping. I'll have to fix that later. But this is actually where the edge of the wall used to be, the crumpled wall that walked all the way around the front part of the river here. And it was so crumpled and destroyed that it just wasn't worth trying to fix, so I didn't bother. I just raised the level and put an entire wood plank deck here and decorated it up. Put an iron fence and a bunch of security and some pre-war vertibirds, stingrays, and tanks. Hello. I thought that looked really good, so I'm going to do more decorations here once I get my X99 system rebuilt and it can handle everything I'm currently throwing at it. Let's talk defense and stats for this settlement. Pulling up the workshop, you can see I have 30 settlers, 36 food, so just enough. Didn't need to go overkill. It's very easy to change that though. Water is at 100, so more than enough. Power is at over 1,000. It stops at 999, but trust me, I have way more than 1,000. Defense, 628. That's mostly due to the turrets that are on these platforms, and we'll go over there in a second. Beds, 38. Happiness, 91. So overall, this is a very successful settlement. And let's go ahead and take a look at the defenses. I'm trying to stay back a little bit to reduce the noise, but I have no choice. We have to go up there now. So let's go ahead and take a look at my defense. And one thing you're going to notice is in my settlement, you're only going to see cables where they're absolutely necessary. Turrets and these lights, they need to be hardwired. And to do that, I'm using a bunch of these DFEP huge radius fuse boxes. Now there's different sizes available, but I use the largest because externally, visually, they all look the same. These radiate a ton of electricity. Like, you could power an entire building in terms of wireless lighting using one of these. But these turrets that I have up here, they're modded. They come with the PTRS 41 mod, and as you can see, they take a lot of power, 16 power, but they produce 60 security. And I have both the 20mm and 14mm on some of the different stands. So this settlement is well protected. Coming over here, I decorated the pieces of concrete that were too tall to be hidden by the new dock, as well as added some decorations like pre-war cars, cannons. I saved the Sanctuary Hills sign and put it up here on one side of the entrance and the Nuka World globe on the other. You can also see when you look at the repaired deck and where the fence ends that the settlement used to come all the way down here and didn't actually start until way back here, because in the vanilla game the deck comes all the way down to here. I keep saying deck, but it's a bridge. So I elevated it in order to hide any of the dirty ground, although there are some places where you can still see like grass poking through that I couldn't get rid of. This main entrance goes into the only doorway into the settlement. I did that on purpose. I wanted to create a choke point. Plus I was tired of Brahmin walking in when I didn't have this doorway in there. They would just walk on in. There's a nice clock that I got from the downtown something or other. I can't remember exactly which building it came off of, but it looks really nice and I like it. And it welcomes you into Sanctuary Hills. And the reason it's called Sanctuary Hills is because it is not flat ground. As you can see from the different elevations and the different buildings, that I actually had to do a lot of kajiggering and a lot of modifications to make it completely flat so that I can modernize the entire town. And we are going to look through it together. You will also see the ceiling has no lights on it. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep it a natural look. There's also no street lights. I did that on purpose as well because I wanted to have it be a little bit more relaxed and laid-back style of city. Pointing out the graphical glitches, you can see the sunlight disappear as I'm walking into the town. That's because the game engine, even though it sees the roof tiles, does not acknowledge them until you're in an area where you can actually interact with them. So in terms of the game, it doesn't believe there's anything there. There are going to be some times when I have to open the menu because Preston's going to want to open his mouth, and so will some of the other NPCs, and you'll have to just unfortunately deal with that. Coming up here, this entire elevated platform is going to be dedicated to nothing but NPCs and companions that you pick up while playing the game. First house here that I built is for good old Mama Murphy. How you doing, Mama Murphy? You been doing a lot of chems today? That's good. I used the do-it-yourself mod to give her some decorations, books and boxes and tons of chems because, you know, she's a chem addict, or she has the sight. She doesn't do anything. She just sits in the chair all day long. She's not assigned to anything. She has functioning bathroom and sinks and toilets, and this is CWSS, and I love this mod because it gives you clean, functional pieces. A lot of the residents have beautiful views out of their living quarters. She has a beautiful view looking out onto the river. Coming over here, the next house is actually McCready's. That's McCready standing there. I'm not going to get too terribly close, otherwise he'll probably start talking. But the first floor is a sitting area and his bathroom. That huge step, I don't understand. I'll have to, for some reason the house isn't sitting flush. Oh well, I'll figure it out. But he has weapons and chairs and a nice sight line down here, and just a nice little living space. Got some food and water there. His bedroom and sitting area extends upstairs where he has a bed, alarm clock, duffel bag, foot locker, dresser, desk. So he's got all the amenities. Doesn't want for anything. Coming over here, I needed to decide how to use the space. As you can see, this is a sprawling area once you enclose it. You can see the actual size of this community. But I decided that obviously we needed a police department, but I wanted to keep it out of the way. So I created the Sanctuary Police Department. All of my security officers wear fatigues and vests and holsters. Figured it makes them more militarized and looks professional. I like the neon light setup. Looks good and modern. Coming over here, yes, my chief of police is a ghoul. What of it? There's lots of ghouls in the game. They're good people. You've got an ammunition workbench, some display cases, and then more of these fuse boxes. Now, if you connect them to only one thing, that's the only thing they control. So for example, by turning that one off, it closes the door to the cells. Now I actually have to put another box up there that's on so that it powers all the lights upstairs. That was a mistake on my part. But coming in here, you have a couple of holding cells for riffraff when they've been misbehaving. And like I said, I'm going to rewire that door to its own box like I have this one set up. When you close the door, that's the only thing that turns off. So, oops. Coming in here, this is actually what I think of as the savings and loan for the city. You have some saves that are embedded into the wall. I did that using place everywhere to stack them and then put concrete pillars between everything. I thought it looks pretty good. I could have put more on that wall, but I figured 6 was enough. No need for a lot of money in this community. We're working together, so we don't charge each other, kind of a thing. Up the stairs is where we have the living quarters for the security team. This serves 2 purposes. Number one, they're their own department. They don't have to walk all the way across the town to get here. And it also ensures that they actually stay near where they need to be, because if you have guard stations on this side of town, you have them living on the other side of town, sometimes there's a chance they will not come to work. So by doing this, keeps them all together and they work. Man, I have to actually actively avoid Preston to keep him from giving me missions. Go away, Preston. So next on the list is the Sanctuary Hills Sanitation and Recycling Center. I figure a modern town, they're trying to keep it clean and looking good for visitors and caravans. They would want to keep their place nice, so they have a dedicated facility just to taking care of recyclables and composting and all the day-to-day trash needs of the town. I have another one of these boxes here. Its only job is to control the door. So you open up the door, walk on in, and as you can see, it's very well lit. Lots of light and some open windows, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I put some railings up, and it just looks like a nice, classy facility. Coming over here, you have trash bins, and I imagine that they use them for different things: glass, cardboard, paper, regular trash, what have you. You have a sorting table here that allows you to break apart the different items so that you don't compost the wrong thing. Underneath the stairs, I just threw some junk tires and some broken down fuel pumps. Here you have a sky cart. I probably should have left the door open so it could get out. I didn't think about that. That's okay. It's just decoration. A couple of machines that don't actually do anything, but they look industrial, so I added them here. I figured this could be like a fluid recycling tank. This could be a trash compactor, and this could be an incinerator. That's why I put these graded walls up here. I figured you'd want somewhere to vent out to. If there was any kind of hood vent that I could have put on there and vented outside, I would have, but this works just as well. Plus it helps eliminate any potential smells. In order to help put in perspective exactly how big this settlement actually is, this is what I call the Sanctuary Hills Welcome Center. It's actually the yellow house from the game. It's where the workshop actually is, and I'll show you that in a second. So you can see that's actually where the bridge is. So normally you would have walked in, walked all the way around, and that would have been the road leading all the way around the town. It actually is a horseshoe shape when you don't have the houses in the town. So yeah, you can see the cursor there. The road would have come in all the way around cul-de-sac around the tree, which we'll take a look at and come back out. This being the first house I did, it's a barn style. I also have a mod installed that fixed the barn walls and floors. That's why I have a light floor and clean walls. But coming underneath here, this was the carport originally, and I kept the carport, I just modernized it. Under here you have a weapons workbench. I have modern firearms installed, so you have that vending machine, a cooking stove, a chemistry station, armor station, and a map of the Commonwealth. Probably going to get rid of that because it's a little too bright for what I'm going for. But let's go inside the Welcome Center. There's the workshop. As I said, it's the one piece that you can't move, so I had to build everything basically around that one piece. There's a toolbox. Obviously you would need that with the workshop, but you got a couple of chairs. I have a Modular Kitchen mod installed, which gives you a functioning stove, sink, and refrigerator. I wanted to let her go by so she didn't talk. But yeah, you can drink out of the sink, you can use the refrigerator, you can cook on the stove. It all functions. Couple of tables so that you can eat your breakfast, lunch, or dinner, what have you. And a fully functioning bathroom again. Every building has a bathroom. Very few of the buildings have anybody sharing the bathroom, only the police station and the clinic. But I wanted to make sure everybody had access to clean water, clean plumbing, and the ability to keep their town and themselves clean. Moving upstairs, I think of this as a way station for new arrivals, a place for caravanners to sleep when they come to visit, provisioners. So it's not a segregated area, there's no individual walls, it's not broken up into rooms. I just have a nice open area with 6 beds, so plenty of room for people to come in. They've all got dressers, foot lockers, nice rugs, end tables with lamps. So it's a very nice place for new arrivals and families just getting started in Sanctuary. Once I find them jobs, if I'm still building and assigning things, once I find them places to be, then I move them out of here. But for now, all unassigned residents stay in here. So another thing I did was I used the DFEP planters. Each planter has food and resources already installed, so you don't have to add them, and they look good, and the settlers come out and work them, and everything's usually working fine. However, I've been running into a glitch lately, mainly because where they're standing is actually the original floor, and then they get stuck in there while they're doing their animations. This is another add-on from DFEP. This is a functioning water tower. It actually provides the water for the entire settlement, so 100 water from the tower, and it's a really beautiful piece to have here. I haven't really thought of anything to put here near it. I'm thinking maybe a relaxation area, a bar, or jukebox or something. I haven't decided. Maybe some picnic tables. Let me know in the comments what you think should be there. But I also wired it up with electricity, and using the Place Everywhere mod, I pushed the lights up into the structure so it looks like they're wired through the structure itself. Makes it look more natural instead of hanging them off into space and whatnot. At night it looks great. By the time we're done with the video, it'll be nighttime, so I'll show all that to you. So coming over here, you have the main administrative office. Nice flag out front, and it's very sparsely decorated. The mayor, i.e. me, comes in here and sits. I'm not in here very often, so didn't need to decorate it. This is not an actual overseer's desk. As you can see, it doesn't give me any options to use it. It just looks like one. Did do an overseer style chair and a non-functioning terminal. I thought I had the mod downloaded for functioning terminals. I don't, so I'm going to have to replace that once I install it. Yeah, otherwise, very sparsely filled. I'm probably going to throw some shelves in here for some boxes. Next up is the Treehouse Bar and Grill. It's one of the things I'm very proud of. It's one of the first things I actually built after the Welcome Center. That's why it's also barn instead of all concrete. Originally I was going to tear all that down and put that up with concrete, same thing here, but I like the way this turned out so well, I didn't want to tear it apart. So this tree is not scrappable in your town. You might be able to disable it using console commands, but I didn't want to do that because I thought it looked really cool and I wanted to save it as an element. So I left glass up here and I left it open so branches could swing freely, and it just looks like a really awesome design element in my opinion. And let's face it, I did it. My opinion's all that matters. Didn't read the sign when I put it down. I put the wrong sign down, so I have the combat zone sign out front for some reason. It works though. A couple of pre-war cars. I thought they looked nice out there. This is the bar and grill. I kind of left this one very plain on purpose. Didn't want to go overboard with it. I do have a merchant, a restaurant merchant with a functioning stove, a Vault-Tec workshop drink station, which is manned. She's actually assigned there. And then, as you can see, I just put a few of the repaired patio tables with the umbrellas. Because of the way I did this, and I'll talk about that in a second, I was able to put taller tables indoors, and I thought that would look cool. And then I used the Place Anywhere mod to install these lights underneath the awnings of each table. So that's the illumination in here other than the 4 corner lights. So nothing from the ceiling, and I didn't have to attach anything to the tree, which I wanted to avoid as well. As to how I made these structures, this is actually 3 different wall textures put together. And I'll show you real quick in the workshop. So you have a half wall, you have the half wall with the window, or excuse me, actually it's a full wall with the window. That's why the green goes all the way up, and then another set of half walls, and it creates these giant windows. And I didn't want to put any of the repaired windows through. I didn't want it to be enclosed all the way. I wanted it to have this open feeling, and I believe it succeeded. One thing I learned is that if you want your settlers to go where they're supposed to be, except for on a roof, still can't get that sometimes, but if you want them to go where they should be, you have to put them near to where they live. So this is the bartender's apartment. Again, shower, bed, everything you need. Fully functioning too, CWSS. It's all working. And I decorated it up. Her coworker is on the other side, but the entrance is hidden, so we'll come back to that. So that brings us on to the Sanctuary Hills shops. I wasn't sure where to put all the shops, but then I was looking at this little area going down in there, and I'm like, that would be perfect. Word of warning, you're going to see some graphical glitches. I'll try to avoid them where I can. You're going to see some tanked frame rates. You're also going to see my temp spike on my CPU, because as I'm looking down this way, I'm looking up at the screen, and I've already gone up 10 to 15% in usage and 10 degrees in temperature. Nothing I can do about that. I do apologize. Hopefully when I build the other system, it'll get better. But let's go ahead and start down. I love the white neon lights. I think they work great in the modernization of the entire settlement, and I will continue to do that for the entire build series. But here you have your weapons station. The merchant normally stands back there. You've got a weapons workbench and a scavenging station. This is a reskin of a scavenging station. This is a busy weapons workbench. So somebody will come over here and it creates scrap. And then using do-it-yourself, I filled these shelves with weapons and duffel bags and ammunition and all kinds of cool stuff. And the fun thing about this is all of these do-it-yourself stuff function as containers. So you can literally put weapons in there. You can put fusion cores in there just like it looks, and it'll store in there. Over here you have your clothing stall. Again, do-it-yourself came to the rescue. Completely filled it up. Looks really nice. And you will also see that their living quarters are elevated. That's because there were some areas I had to elevate to avoid hills and natural landscapes that I couldn't do anything about. But as you come inside, they're all decorated, some slightly different, some better than others. I built these all on different days. To be quite honest with you, this took me over a week to do. Don't forget to leave a like. But yeah, I figured some of them, when they're on the exterior like this, should have a good view. So this person has a nice seating area where they can look out and look at the river and look at the trees swaying. It looks beautiful, actually. And of course, bathroom, shower stall, sink, tub, toilet, all that good stuff. Here's where you're going to see some really wicked graphical glitches, and there's not much I can do about it. I apologize. Here we go. Yeah, you see that? Trying to move from one area to another and it's lagging. So next we have the general store, and one thing I did was I intentionally left some of the shelves empty. Figured you didn't want something that was completely full. It wouldn't look natural, especially in a wasteland or a post-apocalyptic land where they're still rebuilding, but it's mostly full. Do-it-yourself to the rescue again. However, I'm noticing that all of these are backwards, so I'm going to have to turn those shelves around. That settler is working at one of the other scavenging stations. That is a armor scavenging station, so he makes like metal and recovers scrap. That's an actual armor workbench. Over here you have a couple of armor racks and a power armor display and a power armor workstation. Another thing I'm proud of is these fuse boxes are only connected to these lights. So when you turn them off at the end of the night, it dulls everything down. Because there are other boxes like inside those houses, they are getting some electricity, so that's why they're dull. But I thought that was a neat touch. That way it looks like the shops are actually closed at night. This is one of the few places that have more than one bed. I imagine this is a couple that lives here or really good friends. It is a man and a woman. Although I didn't put their beds together, I put them separate. So as night's coming around, you can see how I have the lighting set up. It's very, very minimalistic, but looks good, and you can see all the different buildings. Speaking of different buildings, we have a gym. Yes, residents can come in here, work out, make themselves feel better. It's a good old time. It's one of the few buildings that actually has fluorescent lights in it as well. Ada's here somewhere. Bet you $5 she's on the roof. Yep. I'm using the Ada to Human mod. I just thought the clunky Assaultron body just didn't look right. Anyways, back to the gym. You have a lot of towels and some drinks. You also have the weight benches from Wasteland Workshop, I believe was the expansion. I can't remember exactly. You also have the pommel horse and the Power Cycle 1000s. I have a couple of different people assigned, including somebody that's invisible, apparently. You do you, bike. But I put the pommel horses in an orientation so that you can actually see your character using them. Same goes for the workbench. You can watch your character pump iron. Next up on the tour is the clinic, and it looks like it's closing time because everybody's starting to walk out the doors. See ya. She's gonna miss her friend, I guess. Anyways, this is the clinic. As you can see, it's got a full station here, a terminal to check in when you're a patient, or if you're here for your checkup. You have a Phoropter, which is manned. Usually that person that just ran away runs that normally. In here you have functioning beds. These are Institute med bays, also from DFEP. Do-it-yourself to the rescue. And you have a surgery chair. And that's my doctor. She's a Minuteman. Doesn't look very happy, but she is a Minuteman. And I didn't want to make the building too incredibly ornate or large, so the three doctors, and they are all females, share this upper level, which means there's only one bathroom. And this is a neat trick that I'm very proud of. As you can see, this is a shower stall, but you don't see any of the ugly tiles, and I'll show you how I did that. If you open your workshop and you have Place Everywhere installed, you can actually bury the shower stall into the wall so that when you close it, it looks like it's just the water catch pan at the bottom, yet you still have fully exposed shower head and soap dispenser. Everything is where it should be. Just looks even more modern in my opinion. So this next one was actually an out of the blue thing. I wasn't expecting to do this, but it came to me in a flash of, I'd like to say brilliance, but I'm more than likely going to say insanity. And I decided to put in a luxury hotel. What modern society doesn't have a really nice hotel? So I have the nice neon sign. It's a little bit floating, but you know, it's a neon sign, so they're stiff. They're allowed to do that. And it says Sanctuary Hills Luxury Hotel. It's very nicely appointed. You come in here and you have, this is the double bar. However, I have some function mats placed down. As you can see, this is the Z Counter Merchant rug. And when you close it, you don't see it. But during the day when the settler's actually here, not this guy, but when the settler's actually here, well then go do your work. You know what, buddy? Okay, that was probably wrong. So you can come in, check in with whoever's manning the counter, and go up to your room. The first floor I didn't want to put any living quarters, so I put a conference room with an institute desk and bright fluorescent lights and some shelving. I'm going to decorate it at some point, I just haven't done that yet. And a drink station, and it is powered, so it is functioning, and I need to assign somebody. I haven't yet. So that's your conference room. On the other side, I figured you might want to have some office space, so somebody needs to do some work or send an intramail or anything like that. They just come over here and they sit at a desk. I've put down these terminals. They don't function and they're dirty. I'm going to replace them again once I put in the mod that has functioning terminals, but for now they actually look really good. So yeah, this is an office space. You come in here, send your emails, do whatever you need to do, and there you go. Coming up here is the first set of apartments. There's 4 on each floor. I just haven't built the ones up here yet. I was kind of playing around with the structures. I only have 1 room complete, and that's what I'll show you so you understand exactly how it's going to look. So first thing you see when you come in here, 2 rugs on the floor. Most rooms only have 1. You also have the nicest desk that you can get in the vanilla game, as well as the overseer style chair. The bed is another DFEP. It's assignable just like any other one, but it's slightly larger than the standard bed. And when I saw that, I was like, cool. Because the standard bed is like a twin size, this is like almost a full size, which is nice. Nice dresser, some lamps, and then in the bathroom, you have obviously your toilet and stuff, but I put the nicer tubs, the sit style, and you can look out the window and kind of glanced out. On some of the rooms that actually look out over the back side of Sanctuary, it looks really nice from inside the tub. This room is 5 caps more per night just because of that. So I do have to install rooms on this level. They're basically going to match what's already down there, and then it'll look really nice. I'm going to leave as much of this open as I can. I'll just put up some railings, and it looks really nice with the glass. I've strategically used the glass in a few of the buildings on the ceiling just to make it look even more premium. But let's drop down and leave the Sanctuary Hills Luxury Hotel. Next up, and it may get busy here, so I may have to lower the volume on the background noise, is the Northern Lights Restaurant and Lounge. It's different from the Treehouse Bar and Grill in that this one is actually set up to encourage you to just hang out with your buddies and your friends. So let's go on in here. First thing you'll see, it's got a standard bar. I need to put some drinks in there. Don't know why I haven't done that yet. There's only 1 table down here, and I imagine that's because you're meeting your friends here, you wait, everybody comes together, and then you go upstairs to the lounge, but we'll go up there in a moment. You have a jukebox, functioning stove, fridge, counters with functioning sink, and a pool table, which I still need to decorate. Some of the decorations I just haven't gotten around to because I'm worried about tanking my frame rates too much right now. Working icebox just underneath the bathroom sign, and we will check that out in a second, but I wanted to come over here and look at the bartender's apartment. This is another one that I did a lot of decorating to because it's far enough back, and this building was one of my earlier builds, so I had the time. Up here is her sleeping quarters. Again, it has a half or 3/4 wall with glass so that you don't see as much from down on the ground. Nice seating area, some decorations. Originally I wanted the bed there, but with the bed there you can't actually get to it, so it doesn't function right. So as I said, yes, we do have bathrooms. We are a civilized society. Use some manners. Coming over here we have the men's room, a couple of stalls for toilets and a urinal. However, that thing is grody. I put the wrong one up. I'll have to change it for the clean version. Sinks and containers, of course. Down here you have the women's room. Again, I couldn't get small enough letters to spell woman and men without it looking bizarre, so I just went M and W. I'm sure we all know the difference. But yeah, you have stalls with toilet paper, functioning doors. So yeah, these are absolutely functioning bathrooms. Let's move on up to floor number 2. Floor number 2 is the seating area. I figure they come up here and a waitress will bring them their drinks or any snacks they happen to be having, and they just sit around at these nice tables. One thing the eagle-eyed of you will notice is that these lamps are teeny tiny, and I'm going to show you how right now. If you have the Place Anything mod installed and you're hovering over an item, you can enlarge it or shrink it. I shrank them down to 40% because that's the perfect size to still provide plenty of light and look like they're supposed to be on the tables. I think it came out aces. Going on up to the 3rd level, and there's a settler up here, and they don't seem to have a problem AI pathing or nav meshing themselves up here, which is good. But you have some nice comfy chairs. You can sit here and relax, talk to your friends, look up at the night sky, look out at the lower level and the rest of the town. I just thought it was a really nice area. You can come over here and play slots, and these are all functioning machines. As you can see, they're all wired up. One of the few places that actually has conduits and wires, because these require power. Also a drink station down there that is manned. I believe he's actually the one that runs it. But that is the restaurant slash lounge, and I also shrank the open sign to fit. I thought that looks cool. Next on our visit is the Sanctuary Cinema, and quite frankly this is one of the things I'm most proud of, and I will show you why in just a moment. But as you can see, it's actually part of the inspiration for this entire settlement, or at least the flavor of the entire settlement. So let's take a look. I have one of the cameras from the Hubris Comics, the Silver Shroud studio. We have some posters, and as you can see I enlarged them. They're at 176%, but you have the Silver Shroud and Fight Communism, and I just thought these looked really cool. You have a lavatory because moviegoers need to use the bathrooms from time to time. I'm using the hanging lights because they're not overly bright. Underneath here, seating's in there obviously, is a video of the Wasteland holotape crafting workbench, so you can make all the different videos that you can download and put them on here. Which brings us to the main attraction. Hi Sturgis. This is my movie theater, and I think it turned out amazing. Over here you have some food and some drinks so people can come in here. Again, this being the future, you don't have to pay to come in and watch anything. This is just a relaxation place for my settlers and any of their guests. I use the hanging lights because they don't radiate a ton of light, so it doesn't wash out the screen. Sometimes if you don't do it right and you have bulbs up there, it will actually blow out the screen here, and that's annoying. I used a do-it-yourself shelf in order to put down that and decorate it with drinks. It also gave me a place to put the Radiation Star tape player. I'm using the Place Everything mod to put it up this high. Let's go ahead and put in a movie so I can show you it working. We'll use one that won't get me in trouble. So let's load up the special. C is for Charisma. These are the videos that open the game sometimes. And that plays fine. I did originally try enlarging the screen so it filled the space. However, the image doesn't scale with it because the image is scaled to the Radiation Star, and I would have had to make it like 7 times bigger to get it to work on the screen, and it wouldn't have looked right. In terms of seating, I used all comfy chairs and couches. I put couches on the first level because I figured, you know, you might be there with your main squeeze. I'm going to actually turn that off because it's a little loud. Then you come up on each level, and what I did was I used the half walls, and then I laid down floor tiles. And it looks really good. You can come in here and you can sit in any of these chairs and relax and watch movies. The only downside is when you're up here on the 3rd level, it's difficult to hear what's playing. So you can be up here sitting down and you can just barely make out what they're saying on the screen. But as you can see, I also have seating for like 25 people, and I doubt the entire town's going to be in here at once. And this makes it plenty of room for people to come in and enjoy a movie. And I don't bogart the movies. I have this ammo box converted to hold all of the different videos, so anybody can come in and put one in if they truly want to. Except for Sturgis, who's staring at a blank wall. So let's talk about the main living quarters for the majority of the non-merchant characters in this settlement. It's a long way of saying the Sanctuary Hills Apartments East. I was originally going to put one on the other side and call it the Apartments West. I may still do that, but I don't want to go much over 36 settlers. On the first floor, it's very well lit. You have a barber's station, I guess we'll call it, because it's not actually like a separate office. I just used double doors to create a kitty corner area for the barber's chair. On this floor, you have a couple of residences. This is the other bartender that works up in the treehouse. And then on this side, I hope they're using it. Huh, there she is. That's Marcy Long. This is actually the Long's residence. And it's the only other place that has 2 beds in 1 room. It also is the only private residence that has a modular kitchen besides mine. I figured they've had such a hard life, they deserve to have their own place. Nice little bathroom, table, chairs, all that good stuff. They deserve it. They've been through a lot. Outside, they both work for food production, so I have some of the DFEP planters up on a table. Don't know why they're empty right now. Most of the time they have carrots in them. Weird. Maybe they harvested recently. Going on up to floor 2, this floor houses 4 people. That's the barber. As you can see, the rooms are a little bit bare. Really don't have any shelving or decorations up here, but they all have fully functioning bathrooms that are fully decorated, towels, toilet paper, soap, everything you want. One thing of note is that all the doctors wear Cabot House clothing because they don't say Institute on any of them. Here's the ghoul that was exercising earlier. This is her apartment. Bed, everything. It's laid out in a lengthwise versus a square like the rest of them are because I was running out of room. I use the 3/4 wall so that when they're laying down or sitting down, you can't really see them from the ground floor. I did make a mistake, and this area needs to be decorated. I'm going to put some chairs and some bookshelves and maybe a Radiation Star TV down here. But this is the last bedroom on this floor. I don't think it's assigned right now because I don't have enough people to use all of my beds. But it has a great view out the window, out of all the windows, as you can see. I have to change that wall so that it's a 3/4 wall like the other ones. Because it's too low to the ground, you can easily see inside. Hi people. So let's go up to the 3rd floor, and as you can see, I put a glass roof over this sitting area. I could have put another room in here, but I decided to put a seating area. And here you have some couches, old brown leather couches, and some do-it-yourself bookshelves with books and boxes. So people can come up here, grab a book, and sit and read, or they can, you know, look up at the stars when it's nighttime, or what have you. And this floor holds 5 residents. Again, they're all very similar, yet slightly different. If there was more room, I put bigger couches. If there was less room, I put smaller ones. Like that's a smaller version of the couch. The layout can be different from angle to angle. But overall, I'm very happy with how this one turned out as well. Probably the second best view, except for the roof. Yeah, so counting all the residents in there, you have room for 12 people in that little bit of design. And I like the all-glass front look. Looks more modern in my opinion. The last stop is actually the Sole Survivor's residence, my character. She has kind of a penthouse style, all-glass, kind of really nice looking place to herself. And if you have Automatron installed, you will eventually get a robot workstation schematic, and I decided to build it here. Looks really good, fits well underneath the stairs, and it's out of the way. So this is my living quarters, and being that I'm the person that built and run this entire town, I figured that my character deserved the best place. So as you walk in, there's a bathroom here. I figured it was better to have it on the lower level. That way it would be the least obtrusive and take up the least amount of space that you couldn't see through. Coming over here, I have the only black modular kitchen in the settlement. All the other ones are red. And just like all the other ones, I have a fully functioning icebox, refrigerator, sink, stove, and cabinetry. So fully set up there. Table for 3 people, just in case I have a couple of friends over. And a cleaning station for when we make a mess. Jumping over here, sorry I had to do that because there's a really bad glitch if I just turn. This is a seating area where you can read books and hang out and just talk with your friends. Over here, this is a functioning magazine rack with do-it-yourself. So you just load in your magazines and they automatically appear. Can't grab any of these books, but all of these function as containers so you can store any books you do find. Yep. Underneath the stairs here, I needed to fill this little area, so I put in a laundry room, washer, dryer, chemicals, hamper, a nice chair so I can sit and look out at downtown and Red Rocket, and an HVAC system. I found it in the game and I was like, oh, that looks really cool, so might as well have it in my private residence. So coming back out, you do have some mannequins. These are a downloaded mod for the mannequins. Unlike the armor rack, these ones look human, and I have them decorated with different NPCs' clothings. That's McCready's duster and hat, that's the Grognet costume, and this is the Mechanist's outfit. And those two are missing for some reason. Don't know where they went. But yeah, I just like to put my special armors on display. I even have an Iron Man armor, but that's at my Vault 88 settlement, and I need to go and get it. Over here you have a cheat terminal and a Vault-Tec population management system. I don't actually use it unless I really need to, but I have it anyways, and it is hardwired into another one of the fuse boxes. Cheat terminal doesn't need to be, but this one does. Coming in here, I have my own little television and projector screen and radiation star, so I can go to the movie theater if I want to hang out with people or have companions with me, or I can just be intimate and sit in here and watch some Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck. Let's go upstairs. You can also see I designed this place in a loft style. I thought it would be nice to be nice and open and airy. But over here you have a desk with a terminal, some lockers for storing weapons, and I'm going to organize them based on legendary, and then you've got small, medium, and large. Toolbox, some shelving, a nice little safe to store things in, my holotape crafting workstation, my personal one, my weapons workbench, my modern firearms vending machine, and my own private pommel horse and weight bench. So yeah, I've pretty much got it all set up here for myself. And look at those views, man, I'm telling you. Look out and see just about everything. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you got some ideas for your own settlements. If you have any other ideas on things I could do, I'm still learning how to use these different mods. I know I broke the game by doing some of the mods I did, but it's kind of the point. Once you beat a game so many times, you got to find ways to spice it up and keep it fresh. That's why she's wearing custom outfits and custom gear and custom guns. And once you beat the game and you think you might not play it again, change it up. Have some more fun. Let me know what you did in your videos. Link me to your videos. I'll check out your builds as well. So, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you'd like to donate something to the channel or even consider becoming a Patreon, drop me an email and I'll send you some links. And, as always, I'll talk to you later.